Edge Hill Fire Company, right here in Abington. This is Abington Township. Today we're going to do a show about ham radio and a mobile vehicle. Pretty unique because this is, I've never seen one like this with a lot of equipment inside a van. With me toward my right here is Mr. Jim Spencer of this club here. Could you tell us a little about the club and how it works?
Sure. Philmont Mobile Radio Club was formed in 1949 by a bunch of hams that just decided they wanted to get together and take their hobby on the road. Philmonters are usually mobile. That was a basic premise, and it stayed that way for 30, 35 years. Hope it'll stay that way for another 35.
Has there been any major disasters that your club has had to help anybody as far as the public? Has any incident happened where you played an important role?
Yes, in 1955, the Delaware overflowed its banks up around Broadhead Creek, and we had a number of people up there for 4 or 5 days. We did not have this communications van, but this is only the 5th of a series, so that was the beginning of this van, or of its predecessors, one or two.
Are there any members still active that were a part of that 1955 crew?
Well, of the 5 people that started Philmont, 4 of them are still alive and active. I was there. There are a number of other people who were active in the floods who are available as hams today and reasonably active, yeah.
When there's an accident, who do you, when you call through the radio, how do you go about doing that?
Well, generally speaking, there are people who monitor the frequency all the time. The repeater is in Roxborough that we use, and a repeater, incidentally, is nothing more than a receiver that is in a good location and it retransmits on another frequency what it hears. So it increases the range. We cover 5,000 square miles with a repeater in the Roxborough section of Philadelphia.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Jim Spencer. I assume that everybody that belongs to the club has to have their own license and their call letters. Is that right?
Yeah, that's one of the things that the hams get upset about, the difference between CB and ham radio.
Right.
Ham radio is a hobby, but you have to take a test, a technical test, and in further classes of license, a code test. And of course, with CB, you buy your license and go about your business. So in general, the hams are a little upset that they occasionally get compared with CBers. Not because they object to the CBers, but because they object to the way the CBers handle the rules that they operate under.
All right. Okay, thank you very much. We're going to take a look at a movie right now. Do we have a movie?
Yes, we did this back in 1958 or 59. It's called Every Single Minute. And although you'll find that the cars are outdated, they probably should all have purple tags on them by this time. The basic premise of the movie is still there. It's emergency communications and what hams do to help.
Should be interesting. Okay, I hope you enjoy it.
As ready, trained communicators, right up to the present time, radio hams have been busy every single minute. To the more than 100,000 licensed hams in this country and to others abroad, amateur radio is a hobby. The only hobby worldwide in scope, defined and regulated by international law. The amateur self-training, intercommunication and technical investigations carried on by amateurs, that is, by duly authorized persons interested in radio technique solely with personal aim and without pecuniary interest. Let's take a look at a part of this great service. The ever-increasing group of radio amateurs who have equipped themselves at their own expense with two-way radio sets in their own private cars. The hallmark of this group is the swinging whip antenna mounted on the back or side of the car. This is the mobile radio amateur who communicates as he rides along a country road, in traffic on a busy street, or you may come across him parked on a high location to extend the scope of his signals. This is the ham who takes his hobby with him as he travels. The men and women who pursue this extraordinary hobby are people just like you and me and the fellow down the street. Ordinary people from all walks of life. He may in everyday life be a newspaper photographer, a prominent aeronautical engineer, a trolley motorman, a cinematographer, a pharmacist. His self-training and interest has made him a competent communications technician. Because of their common interests, these hams normally gravitate together. They form leagues, clubs, networks, and organizations to provide for interchange of ideas and promote the public service, which they are so well equipped to perform every single minute. One such group in the Philadelphia and suburban area called themselves the Philmont Mobile Radio Club. This active organization holds regular meetings to discuss technical topics which further their interests and to enjoy the fellowship of others with common interests. Every Sunday morning at 10 o'clock on a shortwave band known as 10 meters, their members meet on the air. Let's tune in on this network on 29,493 kilocycles and listen to what they call their 10 on 10 net.
This is W3DSG, net control of the Philmont Mobile Radio Club. About ready to start the 10 on 10 roll call. And proceed on with W3AJO, W3DSG.
W3DSG from Mobile, W3AJO. Good morning, Ernie. No traffic, over.
W3 Hal Queen Jig, the Garden Spot of America. W3DSG, Doc. W3DSG, W3HQJ. Good morning, no traffic. W3VXN, W3DSG.
W3DSG is W3VXN. Good morning, Ernie. W3VXN.
W3WNC, W3DSG.
W3DSG, W3WNC. No traffic.
And we'll continue on. W3YJM, W3DSG. W3DSG, W3YJM. Good morning, Ernie. W3QCV, W3DSG. Go ahead, Lawrence.
W3DSG, W3QCV. Good morning, Ernie, and good morning to the rest of the gang. W3QCV standing by on the frequency.
This is W3DSG, net control of the Philmont Mobile Radio Club. It is now 11 o'clock, and we're signing off the 10 on 10 net with 45 stations checked in at 11 o'clock.
This is a big party line, consisting of not only mobile, but fixed stations as well. Hams refer to their home stations as shacks, but they are far from what we usually know as shacks. Many of them are powered by emergency generators to be used in case of commercial power failure. Some shacks are actually more ornate than commercial broadcast stations, while others are simple indeed, depending upon the condition of the ham's pocketbook. These men are practicing every single minute, so they will be ready when the need arises. But for what?
W3HFD Mobile, this is W3RQZ Portable 3 in Yardley. Frank, can you get from the parade marshal with you the approximate starting time of the parade, W3HFD, W3RQZ Portable 3?
Perhaps it is to control the marshalling of a civic parade, to pace the parade and keep it moving smoothly. Mobile units can keep the reviewing stand posted on any delays, or can assist in locating missing persons or units. In order to have a base of operations which can be moved to the focal point of a location requiring communications, their club has constructed a complete communications trailer with two-way radio equipment on several shortwave bands, as well as telephone links and public address systems. This unit operates from commercial power or from its own generator. This unit has been pressed into service frequently in the past. Here it is serving as the control center during the marathon foot races in Philadelphia's Fairmount Park.
This is W3RQZ Portable 3 in Fairmount Park. All stations, please report the lead runner, number 2 and number 3, as they pass your respective positions so that the officials here can keep their record. This is W3RQZ Portable 3 out.
Mobile units and walkie-talkies made by the hams themselves provide the judges and spectators with first-hand reports on the progress of the race.
Numbers 36, 95, 57, 91, 69, 12, and W3DSG walkie-talkie. Over.
W3DSG walkie-talkie. This is W3RQZ Portable 3 in Fairmount Park. Ernie, will you try to get me the number of the lead runner Out there where you are, W3RQZ, portable 3.
Mobile stations can communicate both by voice or by key using telegraph code with stations thousands of miles away. QSL cards confirming a contact provide proof of one mobile ham's contacts with Mexico, England, Yugoslavia, Portugal, Cuba, Bermuda, Northern Ireland, Honduras, Newfoundland, the Cape Verde Islands, and the Panama Canal Zone. Amateurs are preparing themselves every single minute to render public service in the event of emergency or disaster. They have aligned themselves with civil defense under the Radio Amateur Civil Emergency Service. Frequent drills are held, and once a year they take part in a countrywide test known as Field Day. They set up their transmitters and receivers in the field and operate from emergency power for a 24-hour period. They see how many other stations they can contact during the test period and are sometimes even too busy to eat.
CQ Field Day. This is W3RQZ, portable 3. CQ Field Day. This is W3RQZ, portable 3, calling.
This activity provides much valuable experience in operating of equipment under adverse conditions. The ham fraternity is a rather closely knit group, and they go to great lengths to provide assistance to each other and to the public. At the principal entrances to the area served by the Philmont Club, they have posted signs advising visiting hams of the frequency being monitored locally by the club. Many stations listen to the mobile net frequency almost continuously to provide assistance to a fellow ham who may need to report an accident, help another motorist, or request directions to an unfamiliar spot.
CQ Philmont, calling CQ Philmont. This is W3IW, mobile calling and standing by.
W3IW, this is W3QQH. Go ahead.
W3QQH, this is W3IW, mobile. Jim, I'm at Ridge Avenue and Butler Pike, and I'd like to get into Conshohock, and I wonder if you could give me directions. This is W3IW, mobile. Over.
W3IW, this is W3QQH. Roger, I assume you're heading south, and if you are, you want to turn right and proceed into Conshohocken, over.
Okay, Jim, thank you very much. Aye, Roger, and thanks a lot. W3QQH, this is W3IW Mobile out.
Roger, safe journey. W3IW Mobile, W3QQH clearing out.
The ham's family is drawn into the activities too, when banquets, outings, and picnics are planned. And here they get the opportunity to know each other better and have a chance to do some old-fashioned rag chewing in person. Oh, here's one ham whose cap serves as identification, call sign and all. The mobile radio station consists essentially of a receiver, transmitter, and power supply, which receives its source of electric power from the car's generator and battery. The power radiated from the whip antenna seldom exceeds 25 watts. This can be likened to the power which lights a 25-watt light bulb. Many hams have commercially built transmitters and receivers which they install themselves. Others enjoy making their own. Mobile hams take part in hidden transmitter hunts using direction-finding loops which can point the way to an unknown station. Home-constructed field-strength meters can pick up the signals of the hidden station and track it to its hiding place. Similar procedures would be invaluable in tracing an illegal transmitter used by enemy agents. The hunts, carried on in the spirit of friendly competition, keeps the ham ready for any emergency every single minute. Procedures born out of experience and practiced by the mobile ham on his way to and from work and by the fixed station monitors, became very useful during the great floods of 1955 along the Delaware River and its tributaries. This great reservoir of trained and well-equipped communication personnel were called into action following severe rains which flooded the Delaware River basin. These floods had only just begun when mobile hams responded to the call for emergency communications. Let's listen in.
CQ Philmont, CQ Philmont, CQ Philmont, CQ Philmont. W3MVG, Mobile and Langhorne has emergency traffic and listening on channel number 1. W3MVG up in Langhorne, this is W3QV. Right here, Arch, can we help you out any? Go ahead. W3QV, W3MVG, Mobile in Langhorne, returning. Brad, the Chamonix Creek has reached the flood stage. The Red Cross has set up an evacuation center here in the high school, as well as in the firehouses. They would like communication up and down this creek and with their headquarters in Bristol. W3QV, W3MVG. Okay, well look, Arch, there's been a number of the Philmont gang that have been checking here on the frequency from time to time ever since last night, and they just want to know if there was anything that they could do. Calling all Philmont mobiles, calling all mobiles, calling all Philmont mobiles. This is W3QV. We're taking volunteers for emergency communication duty up in Bucks County for the Civil Defense Headquarters. So any mobiles that are on the frequency, please check in here. We'll give you the dope and let us know how long you can stay. W3Q is standing by for any break-ins.
W3QV, W3QV, W3NIP Mobile, I'm available.
Okay, Chuck, go ahead. W3NIP Mobile, W3QV. What's the scoop?
Roger, W3QV, W3NIP. I'm in North Philadelphia, and I'm just about to leave my last call. I can go up there anytime you say and any place you say. So you just tell me what to do, and since I would probably be some time, will you have someone call my wife and tell them where I'm going? W3NIP Mobile, over.
Okay, fine. I think 3IW broke in there. Chuck said he phoned your wife right away. Getting good service today.
Thanks, Bob. W3IW, W3NIP. I'm on my way.
W3QV, this is W3UIX. Hey, Brad, this rig of mine's portable. I can move this out. Can you use it? Break?
W3UIX, W3QV. Roger, Dodger. Well, look, Vaughn, I'll tell you what. I'm sure we can use your rig. So you tear it down, get it in the automobile, and ready to go. I'm pretty sure we can use you at Bristol Red Cross headquarters. There, is that okay with you, Vaughn? Over.
No, W3QV, W3UIX. Roger, Brad. Well, I'll start tearing it down and expect a call from you on the landline. W3UIX clear and QRT.
W3QV, W3QV. This is W3YJM Mobile calling and by.
Okay, W3YJM, this is W3QV. Go ahead, Charlie, what's doing?
W3YJM Mobile returning. I have a mobile unit that will be available for your emergency at any time you say. W3QV, W3YJM Mobile.
In a matter of minutes, the hams are on their way and are soon sending vital messages.
W3UIX, W3UIX, Red Cross Headquarters, Bristol. This is W3HQJ, Mobile at Yardley, over.
W3HQJ Mobile, this is W3UIX, Red Cross Headquarters at Bristol. Go ahead with your traffic.
Okay, Vaughn. Message number 5 to Bristol Red Cross Headquarters. The text to the message. Request 50 additional blankets and cots as soon as possible. Signed, Ferguson. Yardley, Red Cross, over.
Fine, Doc. Give me the signature again, please, over.
Ferguson, FBRGUSON, break.
Roger, your message number 5, W3HQJ Mobile at Yardley, Pennsylvania, W3UIX Portable, Bristol Red Cross Headquarters, off and clear.
Okay, thanks, Vaughn. W3UIX, this is Mobile, W3HQJ Yardley, off and clear.
W3VXN, this is W3SAE Walkie-Talkie. Bill, we're out here on the golf course. and they need the helicopters down here to do some rescue work up and down the river a ways. Is it possible for you to contact the authorities and bring these copters down? W3VXN, W3SAE standing by.
W3QV, this is W3VXN Mobile with urgent traffic break.
Okay, W3VXN, this is W3Q and a V. Go ahead.
Brad, they need a helicopter up there at Yardley for rescue mission. Do you think you can contact the tower and request that the helicopter land on the golf course break?
W3VXN, this is W3QV. I'll see what I can do about it and let you know right away. W3QV, bye.
In the space of a few short seconds, the control tower is contacted and instructions passed.
W3VXN, W3QV. Bill, here's the dope. Got a hold of Willow Grove Tower, and they are directing the helicopter to the site that which you selected. You ought to be landing there any second now. I'm talking to the guy on the telephone right now. W3QV here now.
Roger, Brad. W3VXN out. W3SAE, this is W3VXN. Ed, the helicopter is on the way.
Roger, Bill. I can see the copter coming over the hill now, coming in for the landing. This is W3SAE clear.
Mobile operators risking themselves, their cars and equipment, stayed on duty every single minute, in spite of rising water and tired bodies, to provide the necessary links. Relief operators were obtained, additional equipment set up by amateurs who saw their opportunity to render a public service. This is a network that could not be duplicated without the expenditure of thousands of dollars. A free network, molded and modeled by the amateur's own hands. It has turned another trick, saved lives and property, and paid off for Americans in trouble. When next you see the Mobile ham driving down the street talking to his fellow ham by the invisible link of radio, you can be sure he is enjoying his hobby immensely and, at the same time, ready to serve the public every single minute.